So I saw this clip over the weekend of Adam Morgan out of South Carolina.
Yeah, you were sharing. I'm looking forward to this.
This guy is what I hope will be the future of politics in our country, which is they represent the people and not the other way around. And so I want to play this clip of Adam Morgan basically spitting fire.
Let's go.
By calling out the local South Carolina career politicians who are brokering these deals, and they're so proud of what they can do and broker without any real consideration of, what is the people actually want.
Yeah.
And they're effectively applying that they know what's best for the people. And Adam Morgan's pissed.
Constituents want me to vote red, and they want their tax money spent on core government functions, on their roads, on their schools. That's what they want their money spent on. They don't want us in here trying to play this government planning thing where we in our bureaus can figure out where the job should be, who should be employed, how much money should be allocated where in the private sector. It never works. It's socialism.
Would you consider the fact that South Carolina's track record on bringing major projects into this state has a winning record, and therefore, again, commerce should be listened to rather than those people back in your district that may not have ever brokered a deal, may not understand what it means to being a project, may not understand economic incentives. So what you're suggesting is we should listen to the people back home in your district rather than the people at Commerce that have been successful at bringing these mega deals to South Carolina.
Mr. Rutherford, no, I 100% am going to listen to the people back home who I represent in this House, and not the bureaucrats at Commerce, and not the lobbyists, and not the multi-billion-dollar international corporations. You should listen to your constituents like I am. So yes, I will always fall back on the common sense of the wonderful people from Taylor's and Greenville Eastside, far more than I will ever listen to unelected bureaucrats, other representatives in here who have been here for far too long and have maybe managed a whole lot of these deals, and far more than I will ever listen to any member out there. But my constituents...
You got him.
Yeesh, burn the house down. Who's going to carry the boats? Wow.
So this is, I think we've all heard some sort of version of that quote that every politician has the best of intentions until they realize they can vote themselves a raise. And so there's a guy, he was actually Scottish. He was a historian and a, political thought leader. And so there's a quote from him that I'm going to read. His name is Alexander Fraser. I think it's pronounced Tytler. He says, democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government. It can only exist until the voters discover that they can vote themselves. It says Lagresse, which I'm assuming is wealth from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates promising the most benefits from the public treasury, with the results that a democracy will always collapse over loose fiscal policy, always followed by a dictatorship. The average age of the world's greatest civilizations has been 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence, from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to apathy, from apathy to dependence, and from dependence back into bondage. Wow.
That's good.
And that's where we're at today.
That's good, man.
We are on the verge of dependence into bondage, tyranny, and we need politicians to remember, and we need to remember as entrepreneurs and business people and citizens that they don't work for themselves. They work for us. We write their checks. We pay their bills.
Dude, the one thing that I did take away is looking at the some of the comments, and the caption is, there are a lot of people that are going to get fired up about this. Yeah, that's, I think I saw Matt Gaetz commented, inject this into my veins. Well, my question is, Matt Gaetz, you already there. Where are you at? Right. I know he's doing certain things, and no one's perfect.
Who's Matt Gaetz? So people
see, he's a representative in Congress, I believe, from the state of Florida. But my point is, like, we have this tendency to take these clips and make that be the thing that's like, ooh, yeah, remind us of this truth. But the other part you need to pay attention is someone literally stood up there on the other side and said, but they don't know about the deals, how to make deals.
Yeah, very
That
condescending.
was a business. That was business, like a boardroom
and
type of meeting.
that's where capitalism gets a bad rap.
Right.
That is the intersection or the collusion between the private sector and the government that people are concerned about. And it happens all the way up at the federal level, all the way down to the state and the city level.
Right.
And so that's what we should be paying attention to.
That's what we should be paying attention to. And I just, for me, I just resonate with this of like, you just don't let this be just another thing that goes viral, because the whole point is that this, look, there's a little thing called the Declaration of Independence, guys. And I just want to read something to you in it.
Interesting. I don't know if I've heard of that document before.
I don't know if many of us have.
They've never read it, that's for sure.
But here's the thing that this says. So we all know this portion. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But here's the next piece, because we always tend to stop there in our discussions, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to their safety and happiness. So the point is, we have to watch this and say, yes, great job, Adam Morgan. But you know, we also need to be watching this and saying, okay, I got to figure out what's going on in Colorado. And maybe I might need to do something about it. I might need to go run for office. I might need to do it locally. I might need to find out who's running for state, get behind them, make sure my business, my people. We have to get involved, because you have a right, but on the other side of right is a responsibility. You see, if Adam Morgan's the exception, then that means there's few Adam Morgans, but this country runs on there being many Adam Morgans.
Yep.
And so
I think we've talked about before that the entrepreneur typically stepped up into those roles. They were the
Correct.
mayors, they were funding their local communities, their churches, the libraries, et cetera. And it was an honor and a privilege to be in that role. It wasn't a career path. You didn't go to school for politics and do that. You went and actually made some impact, maybe pursued or lived the American dream, and then stepped into that role in order to ensure that the next generation saw the same prosperity that you saw.
it's in the Constitution as well, right? We pledge at the end of the Declaration, then I'll quit your civics lesson.
Yeah.
At the end of the Declaration, it says, in order to move forward in this declaration that we're putting out to the world, by the way, we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. You see, there are things as it relates to this republic that are far more important than our businesses and what we have and the American dream. The American dream has to be maintained. You know, and the republic has to be kept. That's why Benjamin Franklin said it. And so, shout out to Adam Morgan.
Well, and just on that note, to piggyback, I mean, it's about sovereignty, right? Yeah. Because in a tyrannical government, you know, think about the concept of, if you don't work for me in a capitalistic society, sovereign society, you can just go somewhere else. There's nothing I can do to like coerce you into you go get a job somewhere else. That's fine. But in a tyrannical government, I break out the whip, I beat your ass, and you get back to work.
Right.
And so that's the end result. That's what we were escaping when we came here and started this country.
100%, man. Like, get a refresher on these documents, because we are living in a day and age where these will actually be the bedrock of any sort of restoration process that happens to our nation. This Declaration, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, the power is in fact, as long as these documents exist, the power is still in fact in the hands of the people in the United States of America.